Hello and welcome to 4,000 and Counting, brought to you by Hurricane Ebikes. I'm Watty, and today I'm joined by Mr. Aberdeen himself, Mac. Mr. Fraser MacEachran, thank you very much. You are Aberdeen through and through, my friend. Um, I'm coming up for the first time this weekend. What should I expect?
Yeah, I'm looking forward for you coming up. I've listened to the podcast for ages, and I think that not a lot of people know kind of what it's like up here. I think you'll be in for a good surprise.
That's the word on the street. Anyone that I've spoke to the last few weeks here, obviously I spoke to John, and then I just had Jack on, and even like some of the boys that I was speaking to up in Solway, they're going to be they were like, wait until you see what it's like. It's jumping up there.
Yeah. I think it would be similar to the NHL one game or something like that. 1,200 folk every week, like season ticket holders, drums. They're constantly working on the game night to make it more and more professional. So it'll be very similar to kind of the games that you look like crowd wise and event wise, like the games you'll have had in England for sure.
So obviously you're done with the playing now, but your first season with the Lynx, I was just looking there. Sorry, mate. It's right the way back in 2006, 2007.
Yeah,
Talk us talk us through like what it was like then versus what it's like now, because the club have done a fantastic job in taking it forward.
yeah. Like so, I played SNL in Aberdeen when I was like 16 to 18 or
Oh,
something
were they
like that.
Camperdown Stars then?
That was like Aberdeen Alligators. That was dark days. Like that was worse than early Lynx even. Aberdeen
Okay.
Alligators was like our first SNL team. It was even maybe called Scott One then, and we got absolutely thumped every week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I was like 16, 17, and I was having to play against people like me, and it was
Yeah.
terrifying. So after that, the ice rink closed for a year, and things weren't so great up like in Aberdeen. So I went to play for Camperdown Stars then.
Where was
So
that? Where was Camperdown?
that's Dundee. So
Okay, right, there
the
you go.
so the SNL team was like affiliated with Dundee Stars, and Camperdown's the park behind the ice rink. So instead of calling it like Dundee Stars SNL, they
Yeah.
called it Stars. So I played there like on and off in Dundee for about 10 years, and then me and like Marky and Malks, we decided like instead of traveling at Dundee, we noticed that Aberdeen had started to get big crowds, and we were still thumping them then, like with Camperdown or Dundee, and we're like, oh, let's stop traveling and play. Like we're getting these big crowds just around the corner, and we went back and started playing then. And there's big crowds then, and we started like with that kind of influx of players, we did start to get better results and stuff. But yeah, it's not really been to like the last 4 or 5 years where we've started to challenge for things. It's like a different world now compared to those days.
I bet it feels completely different, and having the ability to bring in someone like John Dolan just
Yeah,
a month into the season. I don't mean you weren't really signing players of that caliber back then. Obviously, he's played a few games. Had Jack on. Jack said he's been lighting it up. What's it like seeing him in a Lynx jersey?
yeah, it's mental. Like I played for him with him for years in Dundee, like whether it was for the SNL team or when it was he was playing for some games for Comets and stuff like that. And he's always been like a ridiculously talented player. But we've been playing against him the last few years, and he was a bit of a thorn of in our side at the end of last season. So for us to like win the league, it'd be historic, and then you're able to attract a player like that. It's amazing. Like we had a really good team, and geographically, it's quite hard for us to attract
Mhm.
players. Like if they're not from Dundee or North, and there's not always that many players North, that we would maybe necessarily need to add to the team. You know, you're quite limited on who's maybe wanting to come up for him to want to come up and play this year. It's been amazing. Yeah, he's really been lighting it up too. Like that game at the weekend, he was like a cheat code.
I would expect him to be at that level. He's played a lot of very good hockey. You obviously, like you say, you played for the Stars second team, and then you head back to Aberdeen. You take a couple of boys with you. That's the building blocks. But I mean, we're now probably 10 years on from that, and the infrastructure around the club's fantastic. I mean, I've spoke to John, and we talked some numbers and stuff like that, and everything he tells me is super positive. And the
Yeah,
one the one thing I love is through the senior team that subsidizes ice time for the juniors, which
Yeah,
if more senior teams could take the fucking blinkers off for a minute and have a little look at the model that Aberdeen. I'm not going to go on and publicise everything. Obviously, when I get John on, he might be in a better position to talk about numbers and stuff like that. But the fact that they're able to subsidise some of the junior ice time, how important is that for hockey in the UK?
yeah, like the kind of the way we're working it is so good. Like obviously we're lucky that we're able to market it and attract a crowd, but you notice the difference. Like Aberdeen juniors, if you look historically in league table, they'll be in bad positions. Like it was terrible when we were younger, trying to compete against like your Fifes and your Dundees and stuff like that. But if you notice now, like we've got players that are coming through under 14s, under 16s that are amazing, and like we just wouldn't have had that before. And the
So I
fact that
actually watched your under 14s for a couple of periods there at the weekend down in Solway.
yeah,
You got a big kid, left-handed shot. I can't remember his name. Just
big,
fucking skating through for it. Just like he
yeah,
he could have scored every time he had the puck. If he really wanted to, he could have scored. I mean, Solway were a team for the beginners, granted, but this kid was head and shoulders above the rest.
did you see it? Is Michigan? No, he scored like a Ziegler style Michigan in that game.
No, I missed it.
It's funny, like
Oh God, these kids, man, they've all got the dangles, they've all got the
yeah,
hands.
I
But yeah,
know.
like you say, so having kids like him, and I'm sure like the 16s and other age groups have got guys coming through as well.
Yeah, like we've got like a younger guy kind of from Elgin, Connor Nelson, that's been training with us this year. Another guy, Logan Gordon, who's turning 16 shortly. He should be playing. And we've got young Jack Hutton, who is injured, who is a big part of our team. It was actually me that injured him in summer scrimmage, so I feel guilty.
Sausage. What
But
happened?
he,
You run him, did you?
nah, he went round me and I like took a little slash at him. Then he tripped over his own stick and went head first into the boards. So it's pretty unlucky, but
Oh,
yeah,
it
he
just
should be
spat
coming
everywhere.
back soon. Yeah. But we do
Imagine
have
it,
like juniors coming through, which we never really had in the past, and that's a big help.
mate. Just I think the way Aberdeen are doing it is the right way to do it. It is amateur, so if you do well enough to actually bring finances into an amateur club by getting bums on seats and selling merch and everything that comes along with it, sponsorships, whatever it may be. If that can go back to subsidizing junior hockey in your community, then that's fantastic because you boys are going to play. It's not like you're asking for wages. It's not like you're asking to break the bank or anything like that. You know, a couple of
No.
sticks here or there, a couple of rolls of tape and that. Brilliant. But the kids in the UK, the ice time's extortionate. How much Aberdeen are paying is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. It's great for the whole club is kind of like one entity and it works really well.
It works brilliantly well, and you're seeing that as they start to progress on in the juniors. And obviously, you won the league last year in a couple of cup finals as well at the business end of seasons, and that's where you want to be.
Yeah, definitely. Like it was funny. Like the league is what we really really wanted last year because it was so historic. And then when you get a good start and you see the games ahead of you, we're like, okay, let's just focus on the league. Like we've won the playoffs before. The Scottish Cup, it is a big deal, but the league's the big thing, and especially because we played each other 4 times for the first time last season, so it was even harder to win. So we really kind of focused on that, and we won it. And then it was kind of a big anticlimax to lose in those 2 finals, but it was still like so historic for a team like Aberdeen to win the league and be in those 2 finals. Uh, so yeah, and I think it's early days yet, but we're definitely going to be up challenging again this year. So, it's hopefully we've built on this so we're always up at the top end of the table for the rest of Aberdeen's existence.
Well, the thing is, you can start attracting players if you're up that end of the table. Obviously, geography is not great, but guys that maybe were going to go to Dundee now take Aberdeen as an option, and all of a sudden, you don't need loads of pieces. It might be one guy a year, it might be two, it might be three.
Yeah,
It's not going to be seven. It's not going to be 10. Especially if you can start bringing kids through the junior system. The
yeah,
guys that are getting maybe a little bit older and step out of the game. You got a younger one coming through. You might not necessarily need to bring people in from out of town in order to be competitive at the business end of the seasons.
yeah. And it feels like that. Like, I mean, we've always had a little bit of Dundee influence. Like some of our players, like Sean Dyer, he's come back from Dundee, but he'd been in Dundee for a couple of years, and like some of our previous players like Aaron Thompson, he plays for Tigers. So there is people that kind of come in and out from Dundee, but we've got like Gary Kelly, who's like a younger guy who kind of wasn't getting picked up in Dundee. We saw him on a summer scrim and we were like, wow, we have to have this kid. And he was just amazing last season, and he started well again this season. And people like Ben Edmonds, Dale Shearer, like Ben's become our captain. So we have like a good little Dundee core. And I feel like, we probably always will have a little bit of a Dundee core. And like you say, it'll just kind of fluctuate, like one player here, one player there. And that's all we really need.
Gary Kelly had 42 points last year, 26 goals. Only the import had more goals than him playing for you boys. I've seen that he's had his opportunity at the start of this season with Whitley. How important is that going to be for his development?
I think it'll be great, like, working with Tony, playing in a different league where nobody knows him, traveling down as well. Like, his season was so strong last year, and he was only 16. Like, he's only 17 now. Like, I think he's not 18 for another couple of months, and like he's on the first line. Like, he started the first game on the third line, and I think through personnel, because we have really fluctuating personnel because like offshore jobs and that,
Yeah.
he was straight in the first line on the second game, and then he just never come off the first line. So he was like a main player for us. But
Took his spot and grabbed it, right?
yeah, and he really grabbed it. Like, and to have someone do that, and he had such an amazing season. Like, there's a lot of pressure on him this year.
Yeah.
He's not a rookie anymore. He's 17, and we're looking for him to like be in the top 5 point scorers. But the fact that he can go to Whitley on a Sunday or when we're not playing, get some extra ice time in a different league, like, not a million miles away from. I think if we played against those teams, we would do okay actually. But it's just good for them to be in a completely different environment, play with different players, and then come back to us, train during the week, and then get another chance on a Saturday.
How is it with like you say, many boys working offshore? How many lads in the team work offshore?
There's quite a few, like Jonathan Hogan, who got injured at the weekend there, like Mark Lang, they particularly, and Joe Durkat, so they particularly work offshore on like pretty mad rotations, and they're all like main players for us. Like, Joe can play forward and defense, and we've got so many forwards and not many defenders, so he's kind of
Right, yeah.
but he tends to come home and get suspended for as long as his offshore trip anyway. So we definitely don't
Smart.
expect he's going to play many games anyway.
He's a he's a lad after my own heart right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously these lads are working offshore. It will disrupt the environment in the locker room. What do you guys do to keep that from happening? Because obviously, like you say, two of your fucking top five guys just decide, oh, well, we're not here this weekend. The power play looks different, the penalty kill looks different, the systems look different. How does the coach maintain that and
Yeah,
kind of work it?
it does kind of cause us problems here and there. Like we've lost 2 games this season, and whilst I think we really should have won those games, you know, there was a few people not playing, like Jack Flynn, James DeMayo, who's like an American kid that goes to uni here, big part of our team. They weren't playing in those games that we lost. I still think we really should have won, but it really does affect it. You know what? We now have so many forwards. In the past, we wouldn't have, but we have forwards. So we pretty much almost have like 6 lines of forwards, and we can just slot people in, like just move the one person up a line every time. So I think that's why we do okay. Like, we can consistently play 4 lines. Like, if the game isn't too tight, we can play 4 lines of forwards and 3 lines of D for the most part. And we do, unless it's like a 1 goal game, 2 goal game. And
Bench gets shortened a little bit as expected.
yeah.
So you've got this James DeMayo kid here. I'm just having a look at his stats here. Played 4 or 5 years in the States before coming out here. That must be a nice pickup for you boys in the 21-22 season, the fact that he's going to school over here. Or did he just reach out and be like, by the way, I'm going to be in town, I whack pucks for fun? Like,
Yeah, and that's kind of how all our imports come about. It's funny, like they just, every single one of them has been at uni here, and he actually came to uni on an academic scholarship because he was good at golf. So
oh,
he
really?
really came to play good at golf. So he hates it on the golf outing because we're all drinking, and I like try running down with a golf cart and
He's
everything.
eyeing his putts up.
Yeah, he doesn't like how we play golf on the golf day. But yeah, the first night he came, I was like, Jordan's like, oh, there's an American kid coming, like, let me know how he gets on. And I saw him, and he wasn't using his own stick, and he was like, he's pretty good. I was like, oh yeah, we should sign him. Like, I don't know if he'll end up being like a world beater or anything, but and it's funny because you notice now, like he goes mental if he doesn't have the perfect stick, like he fucking hates it.
Yeah.
And so that night must have been the same thing because he played in a game at the weekend and he like scored like 2 goals straight away. We're like, what the fuck? Where did that come from?
Yeah,
And
legit.
he just never stopped there.
So obviously you've got this is I asked Jack, and it's a hard position for a hard question or position for me to put a player in by asking because it's way above his fucking pay grade. But with the infrastructure at Aberdeen now, I asked him, we love Hurricane e-bikes, and so do you. Trustpilot have Hurricane e-bikes at a 4.6 out of 5-star rating. Let me just read some taglines for you. I love this bike. Fantastic business with a fantastic product. Fantastic service all around. What a fantastic company to deal with. Fabulous customer services. Fat bike off-road. Fun just got an upgrade. Very satisfied with my bike. It's the best company to rent an e-bike. All sorts of good feedback. I like the service. It's very satisfying in all forms. It's got any solution for any problem by contacting just by phone. So it seems like the people are happy. Amazing bike. Best product. Karen, she loves it. Been using the electric bike for 6 months. The e-bike is amazing. No maintenance cost, very effective. That is right. No maintenance cost. You can go further, go faster, get fitter. All you got to do is head over, hit subscribe on hurricane.ebikes, select your bike, add your accessories, confirm your details, and it is on its way to you. Now, as always, I like to chuck in my favorites. It's the M250 mountain bike. I like the F200 20-inch fat bike. That's pretty cool, but as you please, there's so many different colors, sizes, shapes, something for everybody. So head over to Hurricane e-bikes, go further, go faster, and get fitter. Would you consider Aberdeen like a prospect of professional hockey? Maybe not with the Lynx, but in the future at some point, with the fact that obviously the people in town like hockey, they come to the rink. That's the number one thing that you need with any organization. You need the people to buy in and come. The fact that you have this infrastructure, the good juniors, do you think it would be ever sustainable to have a professional outfit in Aberdeen, or logistically, geography, is it too much? Or
I think geography would maybe hamper it, like, and it's so hard to say because really it seems more, if it was professional, it kind of would be like elite league would be more sustainable because they could afford to travel to it, whereas teams from England, like, that league's always in. I don't think people would want to travel that far.
So what's that, another 4 hours on from Solway, another 5?
Yeah, and I just don't see how that would work.
Yeah, that's 12 hours that's 12 hours Bracknell to fucking Aberdeen.
Yeah, the thing I worry about the most is that I would love to see if there was like a professional Lynx team at one point. We don't have enough seats in the ice rink right now, because we could sell
exactly what Jack said.
Yeah, we could sell another 800 tickets, like our whole main stand. If that was on the other side, we could sell that. Maybe not every week, but for big games, we would sell it for sure. So there is talk of building another ice rink, and we kind of are so on board with that. But what we feel really passionate about is they can't knock our ice rink down until they build the other one.
And 1,000%.
Because it decimated ice sports in Aberdeen when they did it before. They shut it for 1 year and it ruined everything. Like, so many of us went to play in Dundee and didn't come back, like, for like 5-10 years, and that would just happen again.
It just rips the heart of the organization out.
So I think professional could happen, but it would have to be after they built an arena. And as long as that doesn't like affect the sport as it is right now, I'm all for it.
Even as a separate entity, like, the owners of Belfast go, hey, there's a new arena there. Why do we not get involved and then still have the Lynx doing what you guys are doing? Because the way that, the fact that we're talking about it on the pod now, the last couple of years, it's really got its shit together. There's a lot less fucking 18-1 games, and a few years ago it was a bit of a gong show. You look at the results from the weekend and there'd be 47 goals in 3 games. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah, and I mean, I've played in this league since I was like 16 or something like that. Like, I played like 28 seasons or something in that league, and it has had times like that, and I've been on the teams that have been getting a whooping, or the teams that are delivering a whooping, but it's not like that now. Like, North Air beat Paisley in overtime yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the bottom of the league team playing for a team that will definitely be challenging at the end of the season. And that was in Braehead, like not even in the Air ice rink. And Kilmarnock are at the top of the league. They were second bottom last year, and they have already beat us this year. They've already beat another two teams. Like every single team in this league can take points off each other every week.
And that is something that you've not been able to say in the past. How important is that for the growth of the league? That I mean, we saw in the National League the last couple of seasons the fact, fact that the bottom place team can go up into Leeds and pick up 2 points. It's mad. You wouldn't ever think it, but it's happening, and it's happening regularly. Teams beating everyone. SNL seems to be following suit.
Yeah, it's perfect. Like you know that every game's going to be exciting. Every game you're going to have to try. The only thing is that it's just as a coach, it's just stressful every week because you know you're never going to have an easy night. You know, just 60 minutes of pure stress trying to get these idiots to do what you want them to do for the whole time.
So it is amateur. How many times a week are you getting the boys on the ice for a practice?
Monday and Wednesdays.
So you get 2 nights. That's good.
Yeah.
That's pretty much in place, maybe if not ahead of a lot of those NIHL one South teams. I know Streatham, they skate once a week Thursday night. I think Oxford once, maybe twice a week. So some of them other clubs down there, maybe Invicta, they might go a couple of times. But for the most part, I think the South one is like one time a week. So the fact that you guys get a couple, that's actually great for the boys.
Yeah. I think Edinburgh I get two as well. I'm not sure about everyone else. When I played in Dundee, we used to sometimes get two, but I think us in Edinburgh definitely have two a week, and we kind of make our Monday one optional. Like if you live in Aberdeen, you have to go,
Yeah.
but if you live in Dundee, you don't have to go. But people still come up.
But yeah, that option's there. But again, if you've just been driving up to Aberdeen on a Sunday for a game or whatever it is Saturday, and then
Yeah,
that's you got a family, and then Monday you're due to go back. It's nice to have the option.
yeah, for sure. And sometimes even if we've had a hard weekend or like a big win or whatever, Jordan's like, sometimes give us a Monday off. So it's there because under 19s and stuff can use it if not.
Yeah, that's another good aspect that it's not just going to go to waste. How is your relationship with Jordan? I understand he's running the ship. Are you giving him a bit of a hand this year, or?
Yeah, so he's the player coach. So he's always like on the ice, and he's still like first line center power play. So
Jackie Moon, maybe.
yeah, he is. He's a total Jackie Moon. So
I want to see him wrestling a bear on Saturday.
I don't think he'd be wrestling anyone, that's for sure. But, yeah, so we need we need people on the bench as well. So we've got a good team. We've got like Barry Carnegie's come back in. He's coaching with us, and they've got Owen Reynolds who's been coaching for ages, and kind of like Guy Gibby. He helps us out on the bench as well. So we've always got plenty of people, like to the point where we can get someone to take stats now in between, like while uh, we're coaching. Someone's checking on hits and face-offs and stuff like that, where the shots are coming from. But yeah, I've known Jordan like so long, like even before I started playing ice hockey. Like the first flight that I got to Canada when I bought my ice hockey kit, turns out that like he was on the same plane, and our families like remember because I was like 12 and I was like crying because my ears were sore, but he was like 6 and he was just like chilling on the plane fine. So we've known each other for so long, and like uh played together, teammates for years in Dundee and in Aberdeen, and kind of he was the kind of natural choice to become the player coach. And once I stopped playing, like after the year before last, I knew that I would still be involved, and we'd both decided that that's what I was going to do. At first, we thought I was maybe going to do like a kind of more like management and organization thing where I kind of represent the players with the club, and make sure the players were getting everything they needed and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But it soon kind of became a bit of coaching, and I pretty much just ran the bench, for games. I don't so much do like the drill side of things. Like, to be honest, I sometimes find it a bit boring. But like Owen and Barry and Jordan really like that. But I kind of like more enjoy the player
Game night,
like
and
game day. Yeah,
yeah, and be able to boys. And
yeah.
What's it like on a game day in Aberdeen then? What should I be expecting?
You like we come down and there's probably a queue outside when you arrive. Like it's well organized. They like scan their tickets and everything. And it's just buzzing, like loud music, drums. There's a bar you can obviously drinks to your seats. I think we're lunch first, so you'll be in the pub about 2. You might not remember the game, eh?
I'm at 2. I'm flying at 7:45. I'll be in the pub at actually I'm flying at 6:05. I'll have my
Oh.
standard airport beer at 4:30, I think.
Yeah, so we're sponsored by a pub, so sometimes we go there for lunch beforehand, and we're doing that on Saturday. And then yeah, the game is like, full on DJ, chuck a puck, kids on the ice in intermission, everything like, and yeah, just it's like a full blown like
So it sounds like a
production.
professional outfit.
Yeah, and I think that's what you'll notice the most. It is kind of like that. There's like a whole shop that sells tons of Lynx stuff, like jerseys, hoodies, hats. Like it's really well organized, and yeah, it just, you know, hopefully we win because it's an important game. Um, and the fact that the crowd never used to know what's going on, but over the years they've come a lot more educated, which is good, and also it puts a bit more pressure on you because they're booing and cheering at the right times and everything.
Instead of just shouting shoot on a power play when you're just coming out behind your net with a
Yeah.
puck on a breakout. So shoot. It's like, well, you can maybe let me get set up. That's yeah. I mean, you still get that in Bay. I still get that in Basingstoke last year. I was like, you've been watching for 20 years. Have you not figured out they ain't gonna fucking shoot that yet? But the fans seem like they're gaining more knowledge, which is only good for like the young guys coming through. Like you say, it adds a bit of pressure. Good pressure. You know, it's easy to play in front of 1,000 people that don't know what they're watching, but 1,000 people that do know what you're watching. If you don't perform, I'm sure they'll be the first to let you know.
Yeah, and I think that really helps us because like it's difficult because every team that comes in is so up for a game because like other teams do get crowds in our league. Like there's even in the smaller ice rinks like North Air and Kilmarnock, because they're so small, they do get a crowd in, and it is kind of atmospheric. But people love coming to play in our rink because they're sold out, and it is like a professional environment. So the other team's almost so up for it that we have to really watch. But I think it helps us when we're away from home because there is a lot less pressure,
Yeah,
and you're playing a kind of away game anyway, you know. So we had an amazing away record last year. Like I think there was one point when we were unbeaten on the road, like well into the business end of the season.
nice.
And like I think that helps, with so much pressure on us at home. When we go away, we can just kind of play an away game, and you
You're not
know,
there to impress anybody. If you just have to get
no,
pucks out and pucks in and just do simple shit, boring
yeah,
stuff, you're not there to impress anybody. You're there to pick up 2 points and get back on the bus.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's why we probably are so good away from home, or we were last season anyway.
How is it for the travel for you guys being right up there in Aberdeen? Pain in the arse, or is it okay?
It's not bad for us. Like, yeah, now Solway would have been our worst road trip, like, but they're not in our league at the moment.
At the
North
moment?
North Air's kind of the worst trip, but it's I think it's slightly less than 4 hours, like
I'd
ice
say
rink
it's
to
not
ice rink.
horrendous.
No, it's not too bad. And there's an amazing like road stop on the way home there where there's like every takeaway you possibly get, the biggest off license of all time, and the roughest pub ever. So we can get everything we need in the one stop on the way home. So we actually kind of look forward to that bus trip anyway.
Yeah, I love it. And Jack was saying you boys sometimes get like recognized about town. I'm sure you will. You've been there forever. But what's it like for some of these new guys coming into that environment and amateur, and then all of a sudden you're in the pub and like folk are recognizing you and that?
Yeah, I don't know how I don't know how some of the younger guys cope with it now, but it's kind of weird over the years. Like sometimes, it's obviously a great thing because it shows you how popular it is. But sometimes I'd just be in work and someone would come up and start talking to me, and I didn't know whether they were like a customer at work or it was just someone that watched ice hockey. And yeah, it's pretty mad. But we go out in on nights out and we try and get the young boys to kind of take advantage of it when people are recognizing. But
Oh,
I
I
don't.
get the young team right in and amongst it. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, but they're kind of built different these days, so you have to kind of learn whether to encourage them or just to wait for
Too
the game.
busy Snapchat and everything.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
That's how glad he fucking all that shite wasn't around when we were playing growing up. Woof.
Yeah, for sure. That would have been carnage.
Well, I wouldn't be sitting here doing this, that's for sure. Not a chance. If video phones were around when I was still playing in the like early days of the EPL,
No, not good.
not a chance. Not a chance. It sounds like Aberdeen are a club really on the come up from the juniors to the way the seniors are going, the fact that you're competitive. You do have the Comets in town. Last time you played them, they beat you in a cup final, so that must have been sitting nice in you over the summer. How important is this home fixture against the Comets?
Yeah, it's huge. Like we have played them once this season, and we have beaten them, so that is good. I mean, they have a very different team from last season, but they're still really good. Like I reckon, out of everybody we've played so far, everyone's been much the same, but other than North Air. But I think they are still strong. They're just slightly different. Like without Dolan and without Ben Brown, they've got other players stepping up. They've got a really good goalie who doesn't let in many goals at all. So
Cam
that,
McGiffin said he's outstanding, and if he was living in England, he'd be playing the national.
yeah, for sure. I think at one point he was like he was trying to sign for Five Flyers, or he was training with them
Okay.
anyway. And he is really really good. And we haven't put many goals past him over the last couple of years. So I don't know if he's playing or not. He doesn't always play in away games, but uh, you know that's the kind of difference. We have to kind of make sure that we're not making it easy for him. Because like we
Get eyes,
Tiger,
get bodies in front of those eyes.
yeah, exactly. That's the kind of the message that we're trying to get across. Because we played against the Tigers goalie in our own ice rink that like we only scored 2 goals on 76 shots, and we ended up losing that game. And we had all the momentum, so we need to
That
make it
goalie
more
almost
difficult.
deserves a win. If he saves 74 shots,
Yeah, for
probably
sure.
deserves to take 2 points down the road after that.
Yeah, but we need to make it more difficult for goalies in our ice rink. And I think if we do that and uh, play our normal game, we should win. Hopefully.
What could be the growth for the SNL?
Um, I think like from what I've seen from like my friends going to play in the English league, and from hearing you talking about it on the podcast, I think obviously we're limited in how many teams we can actually have. That's the thing. There's only so many ice rinks and there's only so many players. But it's heading towards the way play where it could be a kind of like NIHL product at a certain level. Maybe not at the kind of high end one like the Solway are in, but a kind of smaller one with maybe 3, 4 imports. We've only got 2 imports right now. I think maybe we could do
What's the cap limit on the imports in that league? Is it two?
this too, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not meant to be goalies. Although no, it's changed now. So Comets goalie is an import, but that means they can't have another import on the ice.
Right. So they have to just go with the one.
Yeah,
But it would be interesting if that league perhaps did go 3, 4. I mean, as long as it wasn't going to cripple the league, if like you say, the guys that you've signed, they've come over for uni. Well,
yeah,
Paisley, North Air, and Kilmarnock, there's unis, fucking hundreds of unis in around Glasgow. Same thing, uni in Edinburgh. Same thing, Dundee and that. So there will be North Americans. There'll be Euros
yeah,
in Scotland right now that would make that SNL better. That are sitting there playing no hockey. You can
yeah.
almost guarantee it at those schools. Then Aberdeen's not going to be the only place.
No, they definitely. And other teams have had imports. Like Dundee used to have a import. I always say his name wrong. It's like Pokorkney or something like that, and he was really good. And the Edinburgh racers. Edinburgh have one. No, Edinburgh have 2 imports now. I think there's an Australian guy and they've got a Russian guy, and I think that Australian guy is putting up points. So I'm looking forward to us playing against them the week after that to see what it's like. But they had those Griegers brothers who I think
Yeah,
play for Whitley and Billingham now, and they were amazing. Like that, the older Griegers brother I think's maybe one of the best players I've ever played against when I've played in a game.
yeah, nice. I see one of them got suspended for a hit from behind. He got like 10 games.
Oh, really?
Would you? Obviously, you being the most northern club, it's something that's been speculated about the last couple of years. But would you welcome maybe a crossover cup again between Whitley, yourselves, the teams that are in the business end of both leagues? Is that some? I know it's amateur, but is it something that you boys would be game for maybe in the future?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think if it doesn't involve us traveling down there like tons of times, and it's like a kind of maybe end of the season. You know how like Solway did
Yeah,
that thing, maybe something similar to that. But I think at the moment, if we're playing each other 4 times, and if you had in to add in English trips on top of that, it might be a lot. But we're interested. We would like to test ourselves. It's been a
and
couple of
it's all
years since we
that's what it
played it.
comes down to as an athlete, doesn't it?
Yeah,
You just want to go, well, fuck it. If they think they can beat us, let's see what they got.
yeah.
That's always going to be there, isn't it?
And like it's been like I think 3 seasons, probably or 4 seasons since we played Solway when they were in our league, and they did beat us, but like it was like 6-1, and we maybe didn't start the right goalie that night, and then we did okay against them in our rink, and that's not the Solway that is now, but we were doing okay against that Solway that was playing in the kind of the other league they were playing in before.
Yeah.
And we've grown since then, like personnel wise and as a team. So yeah, I'd be interested to see. It would have been good to play a pre-season game, but we never kind of got it together. But yeah,
Maybe
especially if it
next
was
year.
competitive, yeah, it'd be even better.
I love it. Right, Mac, I'm going to go to work. I will see you on Saturday. I look forward to a couple of pops after the game. That should be
Yeah,
fun.
man. Yeah,
Um,
looking forward to seeing
yeah,
you.
looking forward to seeing what Aberdeen has to offer. Right, that has been part 2 of the little mini Aberdeen Lynx series we got going on. Gary Kelly still to come this week. Tune in, folks, and we'll see you for Road Tripping episode 3 Saturday from Aberdeen. Peace.